try and do a test. 1 2 1 2 test. Okay. Just setting up the final things, sending out the links. Just sharing some links, and I will start in short time. I could put some music. Till we wait. So hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my live stream, or if you are watching this video, welcome to the video, and I appreciate the support. I'm now on playmirandusrpg.com, and that website, you can see it clearly down below. It's not affiliated with GALA Games. All GALA related images belong to GALA Games. So this is not official GALA Games website, but I found it really interesting because it gives you also a lot of information that you need to know about Mirandus. Actually, it's all the things that we will now look or do the recap is shortly summarized here. But for a start, let us just see the video that Mirandus made or Gala Games made about Mirandus, just for you to understand how the land deeds work in World of Mirandus. So I will play it now.
Hello everybody, it's Michael McCarthy here, the president of games at GALA, and the lead designer of a new RPG MMO we are calling Mirandus. I began my career making RPGs at Black Owl Studios and Troika Games, and I'm excited to be working on an RPG again, and excited to deliver everyone a full 3D classic RPG MMO adventure, and it will be playable in your browser and on any device. It will also heavily leverage blockchain technology and will allow players to own their own content all the way from a sword to a castle. Today I'm going to talk about something very exciting, which is we are announcing a land sale for Mirandus in the form of deeds. In the world of Mirandus, deeds mean power. It means you can own land. There will only ever be 1,625 deeds ever sold, and what a deed does is give the players the right to build a small house or even a castle, depending on the deed, anywhere in the world of Mirandus. In the world of Mirandus, deeds mean safety. Owning land means safety because players are only safe within the walls of property, and better deeds mean better walls, which keep higher level monsters out. An example would be a small farm hamlet deed would have a rustic wood fence, and that would keep low level monsters out. But a citadel would have a castle, would have stone walls, and would repel monsters even at very, very high levels. In the world of Mirandus, owning land is very lucrative too. Other players can place building on your property's lots, and for every player that builds on one of your lots, they must pay you an initial fee as well as an ongoing fee, both of which you control as a landowner. Being a landowner also means you get special buffs via titles. The second you're imbued with a title, your skills and abilities increase. The greater the title, the greater the buff. Landowners also get bonus titles that they can bestow to other loyal members of their court or productive members of their farm or outpost. Landowners also get heraldry, and the more powerful your land is, the more stunning the presence will be of your flags and banners and tapestries. Lastly, it's important to note that we are selling the deeds to 5 citadels. A citadel means you get a castle, you get the largest estate, and you become king. That's right, there can only ever be 5 true kings in the world of Mirandus. The king of the sun, of the wind, the stars, the earth, and the moon. Each king will be imbued with powers relative to the sign of the citadel. Thank you everyone for listening. We're very excited about the development of Mirandus and also excited about this launch of our land sale. There will only ever be 1,625 players who will have this special privilege. It'll be interesting to see how the world unfolds, and I promise you we will keep you updated as often as we can with new art, design thinking, and demos.
So that was a short video that Gala Games made for you to understand, or for us to understand, how the land deeds work. And I am now on Gala Games Medium page, blog page, and we can see that this article was posted in November 2020. And this was a short introduction. What is Mirandus, how it will be played, and just for us to understand same things as we saw in this video, but I will read you what I consider most important in this article. So Mirandus is an epic fantasy RPG set in a massive world ruled by 5 players monarchs. Player ownership of in-game assets is a central mechanic, with players being able to hold land deeds, which allows them to claim parts of wilderness and set up holdfasts ranging from small farms to massive cities. In a world of Mirandus, property is power. Players can purchase deeds to different property types. A deed is a template which can be stamped on the geography. Once a deed is placed, it cannot be moved unless all buildings are razed. In a world of Mirandus, property is safety. Players are only safe within the walls of property. Better deeds mean better walls, which keeps higher level monsters out. Example, a farm hamlet deed has a rustic wood fence, which no low level monsters will cross. A citadel deed will repel monsters with very high levels. This is here really interesting what they said, because when we go further in some later articles, we will see that this is it gets kind of weird, because I think some land deeds will be portable. You will be able to move it, but we will see that in the future. Let us move now to the homestead. The homestead is smallest and humblest of any dwelling in the world of Mirandus. It is just a cabin for you to rest your weary bones and to recuperate on your travels. Each homestead will have several additional spots that can be utilized by the owners. And you can see here the footprint, 10 by 10 plot medium. That is where your building will be placed, or your house. One plot farming 5x5 and 5x5 plot small plot. Each homestead comes with 2 smaller subplots that can be filled with a variety of shops, tents, carts, or farming location. These spots can be rented out at the discretion of the owner. For example, you could deploy a tent to allow adventurers to rest and recover their health. Set up a potion cart, allowing adventurers to buy elixirs and other magical ingredients. Treat your homestead as like a hunting lodge, collecting and selling game from the wilderness. This first one is really interesting. Deploy a tent to allow adventurers to rest and recover their health. Maybe you can charge them a small fee for that, but it might also give you an opportunity to give it for free, so that you make your, let's say, homestead little bit more attractive. Actually, the homestead is not so attractive, but for example, if you would have a, I don't know, let's say an outpost or farming hamlet, so, and you put some tent there or a camp for the adventurers to come and stay and spend the night or spend some days there, so they can spend more money just buying your goods. It might also be one strategy that you could implement. Let us move now to the second scroll. It was posted on November 2020. The reveal of Monday Mirandus Minotaur. In my intention to have dungeons and monsters in this world be living. They will fight and hunt and breed and sleep. Some monsters will prefer to be in caves or dungeons. Some roam in the wild. Some have their own villages. Walls will repel monsters. They will generally be afraid of them, but the more powerful the monster is, the less afraid they will be. Same, it is true for the numbers of monsters. This will be interesting because later on we will see what they mean with this. If their population grows large, they might get more bold and invade. If you go into a dungeon and kick the hornet's nest, you might anger the Minotaur King. He won't stay on his throne and cry about it. He will gather his troops and launch an attack. This is really interesting, and it also gives me, or gives us, hint that Minotaur King might have his own AI, but it would be also really interesting if they would give Minotaur King like PvP role, just to give some players opportunity to play Minotaur King. So I think that would be really interesting, because I don't know how well the AI will coordinate the attack and so on and so on. If you don't have a strong deed, I wouldn't recommend throwing it up near a dungeon. One Leroy Jenkins could bring down fire on the local hamlet. This is also interesting because if you think about it, the land deeds will not be destroyable, but the things inside of the land deed might be destroyable. So, as they say here, one Leroy Jenkins could bring down fire on a local hamlet. And imagine one monster just burning your whole harvest or half of your harvest. That would be a really huge loss for hamlet or any other deed. And probably the deed owners will have some kind of small army of mercenaries to protect them. But we will see. Let us go now further. What is being put together in Mirandus has never been attempted before. A deep simulation world in which the world itself is as much as live as the players, in which you as a player character have limitless choices in how you're going to proceed throughout the world, what you are going to do to earn your living, and how you are going to live. We will look shortly each of these deeds, but let us see what they said about Village of Baron. Village of the Baron. Your home in the Village of Baron looks out over your village from the top window. Don't forget to collect the taxes. So this is also one hint. Imagine if you are a land deed owner. This is just speculation, my speculation, from that what they said. And you have different people place their shops inside of your deed, that you can tax every single transaction they make. This will be, yeah, huge. As they said, this was never done before, so I'm really optimistic and I'm really curious to see how it will play out. We also have the citadels, which are the biggest land deeds, and here they give small information about citadels. Each citadel will be custom designed and tailored to the needs and requirements of its owner, with specific buffs, advantages, and aesthetics to match its owner. Till today, I think 3 of 5 deeds have been sold, and I know that Flair Finance, they bought the last one, Citadel of the Moon, but we will see if the big players will come also. I think it would be really insane if Coinbase or some big exchange would also buy one Citadel. So here we have the land deeds, as I said, and this is a footprint and deed image for the outpost. It includes 4 farming plots, 4 small plots, 1 medium plot, and the outpost itself. Mirandus pull out the stress test for this week, and if you want to play it, you need an exemplar to do so. I did it yesterday in my live stream, and the deed that was placed there is outpost, so you could see how the outpost would look like. You have 4 plots of farming, and if you go in that game or that stress test what they publish now with your exemplar, that is one thing to mention. This is not investment advice or financial advice, but that is just a requirement for you to be able to participate in the stress test. So if you want to watch it, you can go to my last live stream and you can watch it. And in that stress test they put, I think it's woodworking stand, meat stand, and I'm not sure what the third building was. And they had mill and granary from the left side. Let us move now to the farming hamlet. There are only 141 of these pastoral paradise left, so getting yours today, imagine your fields of crops spreading out, traders stopping to purchase and craft, and adventurers taking shelter within your walls. This is one deed that I'm really interested in buying, but the price just jumped too high for me to buy it. So I hope that the prices will eventually normalize and to grab it at better deal. This is also one deed called Ranching Hamlet, and only 66 of these will be in the world of Mirandus. And here we have the village of the farmer. With a staggering number of crops, you can lay the foundation of your agriculture empire. Only 18 of these left, so get yours today. This was posted in November 2020, so this is old news. But as you see, yeah, this is huge, or this will be huge. And this will give you also the opportunity to create the goods and sell them, because I think the farming hamlet or farm hamlet will not have the capabilities to scale it or to scale the production at high level. We are now back on medium.com, GoGalaGames.medium.com, and here we have one article that was posted in December 15, 2020. Here they speak a little bit about stables, and let me read it to you and then I give my opinion about it. So what happens in the stable? In addition to storing mounts, stables are also needed to interact with the breeding mechanism of the game. Do you or your friends have epic mounts you think would make particular excellent offspring? If so, you could take them to a stable, execute a smart contract transaction, and voila! There is a new baby mount which must be cared for and trained until it's old enough to serve as a mount. Stables are going to be rare. In the entire world of Mirandus, there can only be 400 stables, 30 large stables, 20 grand stables, and 10 majestic stables. This will make mounts and breeding relatively rare, but vital part of the game, of in-game travel and trade dynamics. If you are familiar with a game called X Infinity, this is kinda same, because in X Infinity you can breed your X's, and the better genes you have, the stronger Xe will be. So I can imagine it same being here. If you have good horse or mount and you have bad, you will get kinda mixed genes. So for you to have best possible horses, you would need two good horses to breed them. As I said, really simple and similar to X Infinity, how it works. Let us move now to December 2020 and Mirandus Monday, all about Homestead. They posted on their Twitter account which NFT or land deed would people like to have more information about, and we all voted for the Homestead because Homestead was the cheapest one. You could get Homestead for $100, and right now the price on OpenSea is around 2,000, above 2,000 US dollars. Mirandus is not finished. That is also that you need to consider, and some changes might be included. So don't take everything that I say or that Gala Games said for a certain, and that will be so because they can change it anyways. They just said they will not change the number of land deeds, but everything else might change. So the homestead is the smallest of the deeds in the world of Mirandus. With a small dwelling and a place to put shop and a farm, the homestead is the best way to get a toehold in the land of Mirandus. With a homestead, you can climb up to find a mountain meadow to stake your claim, living as a hermit and crafting in your free time until the time comes down to a town or a village to sell your wares. If society is more your style, you could cluster your homestead in a inn with a group of fellow landholders and share resources and skills. Whenever you go, remember that a homestead is a not major defensive fortification. Within a homestead, you can sleep, craft, and store some items, but your small split rail fence will not keep out a marauding army which could overrun your land, destroying resources and non-blockchain items, and pretty well ruin your day. That was the same thing that I said about farming hamlet. Imagine you put it in close proximity from dungeon, and one monster comes and destroys your whole harvest. That would be really damaging to the economy as well as for nerves of people. That said, a homestead is a perfect for beginning adventurer or well-equipped warrior who wants a portable home base from which to venture. So, portable home base. So, will we be able to move homestead from one location to other? This is really interesting. From all that I know, we cannot move the land deeds until all land deeds are erased. So this will be really interesting to see how it will develop in the future. A homestead will also present interesting commercial opportunities for those interested in renting out their homestead farm or shop plots. Within the 5x5 unit area of lands, a homestead owner could place a simple forge, a simple storehouse, a small farming plot, or just about any other 5x5 unit structure. These structures can either be erected by the landowners themselves or spaces rented out to other players who would like to ply their trade and are willing to pay the landowner for the space to set up shop. So this might be really interesting. Let's say if you put your homestead in some area between two big land deeds or from one land deed to a dungeon, but you don't have, for example, any buildings. You might consider to rent your building, for example, for someone who have potion stand. So that person could sell the potions to the adventurers on their way to fight the monsters. In the right spot, a shop on a homestead could be very valuable position, crafting and selling potions from a potion stand to adventurers on the way to a battlefront, taking advantage from unique location to grow rare crops, or setting up a tent so that adventurers can get some rest and replenish some hit points for a fee. And that was also one thing. Can you also give it for free, It would be really interesting to see the possibilities that they will give us. And people were discussing what is then the difference between outpost and farming hamlet, since they were same price. And Gala Games gave here the explanation. An outpost is a defensive fortification. A farming hamlet is, well, a big farm. It can produce tons of crops, but it won't fare well against a small band of roving goblins. For that, you might want an outpost, holding a critical spot in a mountain pass or at dangerous crossroads. They also spoke about it that the kings or owners of the citadels can give buffs, for example, to an outpost landowner, just to give them, how can I say it, just to reward them for holding, for example, such dangerous spots and areas. Because if the monsters destroy the economy, the citadel will lose also. So they make it all kind of mixed together, and the whole economy is like mixed together, that everything sticks together. If you played, for example, Townstar, you can see how they managed to do that. Whole production line is connected, and every single step in the production is important. Here they just scaled it on the economy. So we are now 28 December 2020, Mirandus Monday, a broader view of the world. We will begin this post in the same way we begin all other posts. The village, okay, they show here how the village of farmer looks like, or can look. We can see also different crops here that they are growing, and let us see what they say about it. Here you can see some crop plots, several 5x5 spaces and corner of 10x10 space, and some general street details and traffic. It's also not yet introduced. Will the cart be manufactured inside of the game, or will it be an NFT? That is really also interesting thing to think about. So crops can be seen both ready to harvest and mid-planting. A player character rides throughout the village on his horse, and numerous of NPC characters go about their duties, farming and living their lives in the village. So we can see here the player, and those are the NPCs. So one question that I asked myself, in the stress test, they gave us possibility that we can put the seeds and grow some plants. And I asked myself, will they give that opportunity to NPCs, that you will be able to buy some NFTs that will be used as NPCs inside of the world of Mirandus. Something similar that they are doing in Townstar, where you could have some NFTs that you can use inside of the game just to accelerate your production or growth. Might that be here also the possibility? Or if you will be able to hire other players to do the NPC stuff. So, life in a village of a farmer can be expected to be pretty busy. With 66 farming plots and 8 ranching plots, the village of farmer will be able to produce massive amounts of variety of crops, which can be stored, crafted and traded. It is easy to imagine the village of the farmer with 10x10 spots occupied by granary, mill, bakery and storehouse, creating a whole product cycle. The 12 smaller 5x5 spots could be filled with any combination of the other shops to provide trading opportunities and supply player characters with what is needed for adventure. On shop placement, as a deed holder, you will be able to plan which shops can be placed within the confines of your deed, as well as set the rents and requirements for particular shops. As a farming land baron, you will be able to set requirements for specific plots within your deed if you choose. You will be able to specify, for example, what types of shops you would like to be able to rent your plots, so that you don't end up with a village filled with a single type of shop. This will give you unprecedented influence over the local economy and can make a single spot with your deed highly priced if the services it provides is needed to complete a product cycle. A very concrete example of this would be the product cycle described above. Farmers farm wheat, which is stored in a granary. It can then be milled into flour and baked into bread, which can then be consumed by players' characters or stored in a storehouse for trade to other cities, villages, and hamlet. However, if your deed lacks a mill, for example, it becomes a potential very desirable location for a shop owner. The deed holder at this point might want to go out in the world and connect with other players or even advertise for a potential renter. At the same time, a shop owner might even be able to ask for an incentive to fill such spot. These deals and relationship are entirely up to players. So this gives us whole new layer that to understand how the Mirandus works. So imagine you being the land deed owner. You want your land deed to be as much worth as possible and desirable. And if you are and you can really manipulate what do you want. As I said, you have absolute control. What you want from your land deed. You can destroy it, you can make it awesome. But I think as the game will develop, it will show us what is needed and what is the best strategy. Let us move now to the new article published on January 4th, 2021, where GALA Games introduced polyant vaults. And what are polyant vaults? Polyant vaults will allow players to safely deposit and store in-game representation of their NFTs and in-game currencies. In Mirandus, every player will want a space to store valuables they don't have room for in their backpacks. If a player has a deed or a building, then they will always have their own storage in-game. However, with a limited quantity of these NFTs available, users will need somewhere to place their valuables so as to not risk them when out adventuring, making the polyant vaults an integral component of the player's experience in the upcoming virtual world. But this might also be interesting for deed owners, even though they have the storage. We don't know yet what the monsters will be able to destroy, or if there will be also a possibility to steal it. So if you have something worth, the polyant vaults are like today's banks, treasures, where you put your valuable things in. And one big thing that is really interesting about these vaults, and I will read it to you now. The vaults themselves will connect with Polyant Dex and Polyant's upcoming vault system, allowing holders of the vaults to benefit from Polyant's innovative liquidity and yield farming solution, all while providing key decentralized in-game services to players. I don't know, but this is revolutionary. This is really revolutionary what GALA Games is doing. The Polyant Vault system may even allow players to even rent out their items to others. Speaking about DeFi, yeah? Imagine if you have buildings. I'm not sure about land deeds, but for example, if you have buildings and you try to do some, let's say, farming, but you are not satisfied with that playstyle, what Polyant Vault maybe will give you opportunity to rent your or to lease your building to someone else who is really interested in doing such things, and give you opportunity to play the game other way, for example as an adventurer. And from the money that you will receive for leasing your building, you will be able to play as adventurer. Really insane. We are now on January 26, 2021, Mirandus Monday, the world as simulation. How does crafting work in Mirandus? Let's take a concept of operating a simple forge. The description of a simple forge is: some heat and a small anvil help provide village basics. What does that mean? Well, in a case of small forge, what do you get? What exists within this structure? The best way to answer this question is to look at what exists in the real life world. A small forge would have a collection of tools, an anvil, a barrel for quenching, an area to keep stock iron, a small forge which would be fueled with coal or wood, a set of bellows to stoke the fire. What could you make in a simple forge? The description says village basics, but what does that mean? In a late medieval town, a local blacksmith would work to make simple farming implements such as axes, adzes, tongs, shears, horseshoes, belt buckles, and some small decorative items for use around the village. In times of war, they would produce some of the simplest weapons to equip levies. If there was a particular skilled smith, they might produce some armor or more advanced weapons, but that is only in the event that the smith himself was spectacularly skilled, having spent a lifetime learning his craft. So what GALA Games might also introduce here is the leveling up your character. The more experience you have working, for example, as a blacksmith, and upgrading your character, it will allow you to create better tools, or even in this case weapon, because weapons for the villagers, weapons are not maybe also interesting to have because they don't have a big use of it, except for example if the monsters come to attack them. So yeah, really interesting. However, even when a blacksmith made a sword, it depends not just on his own abilities, but rather the abilities of entire village. The forge would be fired with either coal or charcoal, which would depend on the efforts of the woodsman, miner, and charcoal burner. The hilt would be wrapped in leather, which would depend on the work of tanner, which would take raw skin from either a houndsman or a butcher and turn it into leather. This type of analysis can be scaled to look at other buildings within the Mirandus ecosystem. We conduct deep research into each type of building before we include it in the world, making sure that it fits to the ecosystem. There is no such thing as unimportant shop. Things such as deforestation, overhunting, or pollution may have an impact on overall productivity of farming and ranching hamlet. Some tasks in these locations may be performed by NPCs, but at the end of the day it will be up to the player characters to shape the world of Mirandus. Let us move now to the 2nd February 2021, where we have Mirandus Monday, interconnected ecosystems. I want to be very clear. I don't want the world of Mirandus as a whole to be a scary and dangerous place, said studio director Michael McCarthy. However, I want there to be some places, like a simple forest for example, that makes you realize that while some of the world might be nice and sunny, not everywhere is. Some places should be terrifying and make you check your gear before going inside. Earlier gaming had a sense of danger that has largely been lost by more modern games. This is especially true to MMORPGs, where the spawn points for creatures are often quickly identified. Creatures in the games exist for only simple reason: to be killed by players' characters. What if this wasn't the case? What if the creatures in game had their own logic and priorities outside of providing crafting fodder for players' characters? What would this kind of game looks like? Mirandus is being built as a simulation, which you, the player character, are placed in a world which will respond to your presence. Animals and monsters will not have set spawns points where they might reliably be found, but rather vast ranges they might explore, interacting with the other creatures of the environment, and acting accordingly to their logic. This means that if you go into a forest and kill all the rabbits to get pelts for the market, this might mean that the wolves that normally might exist in the range will become hungrier and more dangerous. The lack of adventurers in the forest because of the new danger might make it an attractive home for a den of goblins or a cave full of trolls. Proximity to the forest as a deed owner might have some perks, but it also means that you are first to realize that ecosystem is out of balance. What happens if you cut all the trees down? You might have removed the immediate threat of wolves, but you also might lower the water table, making it harder to farm. Will we see rangers forming up to protect and steward the forests, the Dungeon of Mirandus, or logging companies? What sorts of player-based emergent behavior will be observed? This is really interesting what they said here, and I think this will also be, the game should just play itself, let's put it like that. But it's really interesting because imagine if you have special group of people working as a rangers, as a mercenaries, just to protect those villages. Really interesting stuff. Mirandus Monday, The Sound of Music, published on February 23rd. So we want to enable the players of Mirandus to create music in the way that deepens immersion, not breaks it. While there may be music for a load screen or intro, there will never be a dedicated in-game soundtrack. If there is a music in Mirandus, it has to come from the bard or a performance. There won't be music when you walk around, says studio director Michael McCarthy in an internal discussion about music within the world of Mirandus. Music will be composed by players. These compositions will be NFTs. Music and entertainment should be real moments of wonder when you walk throughout the town and hear amazing composition on a masterclass instrument by a master musician. This raises extremely interesting possibilities for the world of Mirandus. Imagine an area filled with spectators, each of which has come together to witness specific musician performing inside of the virtual world, with each participant carrying the song in their heart and the NFTs in their accounts as they spread out across the world. They spoke also here about how this virus changed the whole situation and how it also might change the music industry or music performance art, just to go digital. This is why Gala Games is looking for a skilled musician, specifically those who are able to produce music which is thematically connected to the world of Mirandus. The taverns of Mirandus needs to be filled with bard, music, laughter, and dance. The woodcutters must find fine-grained woods deep within the forest to produce lutes. The vintners must make the fine vintages to be carried across the land, because wine goes well with conversation and song. Some even might need to fill Bitbender's mead horn. Mirandus Monday, Seeking Shelter from the Storm, published on March 9th. Just to get something to drink. Everyone knows what it's like to walk out from the elements, from the rain, snow, or even sun, to step into the darkness or a place of shelter. The transition from the world outside to the world inside, with the slow moments as your eyes adjust and your senses tells you that that no matter what it might feel like outside, the stout walls surrounding you are now tempering the worst of what nature may have to throw at you. Tonight on Mirandus Monday, you will find yourself stepping into a tavern. The sound of people talking filters across the distance, and the crackle of fire reaches you from the heart. You might be able to hear laughter, bargaining, or pleading in this tavern somewhere in the citadel of the earth. The banners of green and gold hang from the vaulted ceilings, where the lights cast shadows amongst the beams. Patrons laughing and share drinks, and bearded man looks your direction as you approach the bar. So, just to see some images from the tavern. I think also all the taverns will be customable inside, so the taverns will not look the same. A tankard of summery honey mead and rich brown ale serve as a counterpoint to the crusty bread, pungent cheese, and smoked sausages served by the trenchful. Leg or a lamb, or vengeance to make you feel the health creep back into your bones as the winter chills leaves you. You can hear the bard in the corner, but nobody can hear you, and you, small band of adventurers, as you discuss your plans. Should you head up into the hills to fight goblins, or travel along coastline where you have heard that there is a group of brigands that have overrun an outpost on a rocky spit of land. In the world of Mirandus, your life is adventure. What will you do next? So, the GALA Games showed us here that taverns will be one point where you can chill out with your friends, where you can just relax, where you feel safe, relax, and just have those deep MMORPG conversation and just tell the stories. For example, imagine someone who traveled across world of Mirandus, the stories that person will have to tell. I would buy someone ale just to hear them speaking, just to share their experience with me or us in the tavern. So we are now on March 16th, Mirandus Tuesday, the art of character creation. I didn't go too deep into this because these are technicals that I think no one is really interested in, but I just took what I think that is most important in this article. So here you can see how the characters looks like. You can also see it in the stress test. If you have an exemplar, be sure to join and play it. I played it and it's really amazing experience. But if you don't have an exemplar or you didn't see it until yet, I have it in my live stream. I played it yesterday for 1 hour and you can see a little bit how it looks like, and you can see also different shapes shapes of the exemplars. Here we have comparison between male and female base. One interesting fact about these models is that they use the same basic skeleton and apply different meshes. This means that there will be great number of action, animation and mechanics that can be easily reused between genders. This will lead to a massive savings in assets used to create the game and cut down the great deal of development time and even game footprint. Moving to low poly design like this have several other significant benefits. Firstly, it allows lightning fast iteration. The Mirandus development team can build out and test whole new concepts and games mechanisms when other developers would still be working on poly shading for their smallest monsters. This also enables very quick pivots in a new design opportunity present itself. It does not take much time for a human mind to perceive emotions and humanize a simple design, which can then become extremely relatable. Some people were discussing, is this style of Gala Games or Mirandus a turn off? And they were complaining about character design as well as the whole environment, saying like they doubt it. But I said always look at Minecraft. Minecraft is nothing special when you look at visual, but when you play the game, it's so playable that you forget about the how it looks like, blocky. So let us move now to the April 13. Miranda's Monday, welcome to the tavern. Here Gala Games discussed a little bit more about tavern and how it looks like. Just this picture, imagine this in game. After an adventure, hello Lamia, after adventure, you go and just a sec, you go to the tavern with your friends just to celebrate beating a monster or any test what you did. But I hope that you notice this dragon on his shoulder. If you are not familiar, Gala Games made it also. They published that they will introduce dragons inside of the world of Mirandus, and you would need to buy 5 packs to assemble a dragon. This is the first in a series of the pieces which explore some of the potential functionalities of specific NFTs in-game in the world of Mirandus. The above image shows a scene from inside the tavern filled with adventurers all enjoying some hard-earned beverages after a long day on the road. As Michael McCarthy says of tavern fare, a prepared meal from a tavern is a long-lasting tummy-filling bonus, an honest opportunity to prepare and for the challenges ahead. In a previous post, we have discussed music in Mirandus and what the in-game player economy might look like for music and performance. However, what has not been as thoroughly discussed is item-based economy centered around consumables in-game. Next time you bite into a fresh piece of bread, the most simple of staples considering the journey that its ancestral wheat has already taken in order to become a bread you purchased in the store and are now enjoying with your breakfast. Firstly, it's grown in a field from a seed, watered by the environment or by farmers, harvested, threshed, milled into flour and mixed with water and yeast before being allowed to rise, then baked to perfection in the oven. Then it is let to rest before being packed off to the point of sale. Today, that means wrapping it in the plastic and shipping it off to a market with the thousands of the other loaves, but in the past it might have been added to the basket with several other loaves and taken down the street from the baker to the tavern. At the tavern, the bread would be served in rough chunks to be dipped in the stews or eaten with meats or cheeses. Each of these would come from their own part of the economy, probably located in the same village or settlement. Everything came together in a sort of beautiful dance to the table where it would be shared by friends and used to literally fuel their physical activities. Then, after a good night's sleep, the satisfied dinner would arise full of energy, ready to work hard in order to produce the next day's bread. Dairy is produced by cooperative efforts between cows and delicate hands of milker, but even then its dance only begun. The cream, which rises to the top, must be separated from the milk. Then milk can be bottled and distributed to the townsfolk, but the cream proceeds to its own dance, resulting in a butter and delicious baked goods. Milk can be carefully curdled over the time and combined with certain bacteria to form products such as cheese or yogurt. This is just crazy in depth from Gala Games. If they manage to pull this out, hats off, the game of decade, maybe even century, I would say. While feeling a deer in the woods with a bow in the end of the life, it's only the beginning of an amazing journey that will allow the prime meat to be enjoyed by the townsfolk in every age and walk of life. Možeš samo upaliti jedno svjetlo kad budeš. The hunter can sell his prize to the butcher in the exchange for a gold that allows him to buy more arrows and stronger bow, or new boots for a softer footfall. This also might be really interesting because when you hunt, the more noise you produce, the animals probably will be aware of you. So it's really important for you to have boots with softer footfall just to don't alert those animals. The deer is first cleaned and butchered by the ones specialized for those arts. Parts of it can be cured and made into jerky that will help survive a long mountain winter. Other parts can be used to stew meat to feed weary travelers. Exquisite steaks cuts can fetch high prices at the market, purchased by those wishing to celebrate with a top quality feast. In a world of Mirandus as a simulation, as many as possible of same rules will apply. Many NFTs have already been dropped and sold to fill these gaps, barns, mills, etc. But there are still more to come. Together, they will paint much more vivid picture of the farm to table, cow to cake, arrow to stew, inspiring the cooperative processes that are forever intertwined with the fascinating creatures known as humans. We are now on April 26, Mirandus Monday, seeing the forest throughout the trees. Gala Games made this, simulation that you can download and you can play it for yourself just to see how the forest will grow and how it will look like in the game. It shows in speed fashion how forests in the Mirandus grow. We have been working hard at defining a language to have data-driven AI structure. Creatures and plants are all grow, age, and if in ideal conditions breed. A tree grows and if it's healthy, it produces new trees. If too many trees are at once, they will crowd one another out, and some of trees will have to compete with other for sunlight and nutrients. This simulation is obviously a gross simplification of what the forest in Mirandus will look like, but It was specifically designed to show the logic behind life cycle of trees. In this simulation, green trees represent healthy and growing trees. Yellow represent those that are sick, and those that are gray have died and will collapse to provide nutrients for other trees. These aspects of simulation can be expanded to intersect with every other creature in the world. A rat, goblin, or deer will have their own requirements that will be layered into the ecosystem, which will be responsive to players' interaction. This is important because in the world of Mirandus is waiting for you to come and make it your own. We see the future of Mirandus looks like this. The first player characters to enter the world of Mirandus will be the first explorers to step foot in the open meadows, dark forests and plains. It is not a new world, but it is one which has passed from far human memory and experience at the seem nearly completely untouched. From time to time, remnants of the past may be seen on the bones of the earth, but you will need to look carefully. When the first 5 explorers entered the world of Mirandus and founded their great cities, putting down the roots as the citadel of sun, moon, wind, earth, they will open a path for so many more to follow. The first to come after them were the progenitors of the world of Mirandus, the archdukes, princes, marquises, and dukes, were the next one to stride into land, planting the stakes, defending the bounds of their land. Their towns with stout walls, bustling workshop, and noisy markets. Following them came across rough pioneers who placed their frontier villages, which served as the centers of localized trade and commerce. After them, the farmers, ranchers, and outposts spread throughout the land, followed by the hardy homesteaders, moving the boundaries of the civilization even further out into the forests and glades of Mirandus. Then, stepping into the world, came new people of node, some of which had received tools for their labors, which would give them the ability to craft and make things for Legion of Gold, which follow them. As time marches, the world of Mirandus will become deeper, shaped by the avatars which inhabit it, shaped by you, the character, striding boldly into the world to adventure, hunt, craft, collect, and fight. So they said here that first one to place the deeds will be the citadel owners, after them the town folks, then villagers, then hamlets and outposts, and after that the people with homestead will be able to place their own deed, and after that we that don't do yet nothing, let's say, we will enter the world of Mirandus, and some of us who will have the NFTs will be able to get that little bit advantage, let's say, receive the tools from their labors, which would give them the ability to craft, make the things for the Legion of Gold, which follow them. So, Legion of Gold, yeah, that means that you will need to pay, yeah? That you will need to buy the things to start even. So, we are now at May 21st, introducing the Mirandus exemplars. One of the key components to creating an immersive fantasy world like Mirandus is avatars. By bringing life of avatars in unique ways, Mirandus will create richer and more vibrant world for its players, drawing them even more deeply into adventure itself. Exemplars, these are elite avatars to have special bonuses that normal avatars will not, which will allow them to perform certain actions better than others. Since here we have a lot of text, I will use now my Google Translate as a help to read each from the exemplars. So we have true provider.
True provider. Human. The greatest skills of farming have always belonged to humans, who experience an overwhelming and inexplicable drive to provide for and nurture those around them. They do not judge and they do not play favorites. They derive their happiness from creating, producing and distributing the fruits of their labors. The most elite of these human servant heroes of the world are the exemplars known as true providers. The endless joy they derive from their actions result in additional heroic bonuses to all farming and ranching activity.
So, the first one is true provider, and as we heard right now, they have bonuses to all farming and ranching activities. So, for a deed owner that has a ranching hamlet or a farming hamlet, it might be attractive to hire true providers to boost his production. But we need also to see how big will the role be for the exemplars in regarding farming and ranching. Or will it just be enough that the land deed owner have the true provider exemplar, or will it stack? That will be also interesting, because if you have, for example, farming hamlet, if you have 10 true providers, will that bonus stack, or will it just be capped to, I don't know, let's say 25% capped? But this is really interesting, and I went with one true provider. I bought it because my strategy, we will come to it, requires also true provider. We have Rider of the North. I will use again my assistant here.
Rider of the North. Human. The greatest riders of Mirandus come from the high plains of the north, where it is said that humans are born with a wandering blood. Truly, these nomadic riders take joy in endless travel and free-spirited adventure. A rider of the north travels greater distances in a day than most in their entire lives. Their horses are majestic creatures of breathtaking beauty with whom their riders have a powerful unspoken connection. It is said that a rider of the north is possessed of such selfless valiance that he will lay down his life for his horse in an instant if necessary. The horses would do the same. Riders of the north receive powerful bonuses to all horse-related skills and abilities.
So, where do I see Rider of the North being useful? I can see it in bringing goods. Let's say I see it in the two types of scenarios. As adventurer, of course, yeah, because you will be able to cover a greater distance with it, but also as a, how can I say it, to moving goods, because people will need to send goods from one village to another just for trade, and if you have someone who is Rider of the North, having that convoy, to be as leader as a convoy, just to bring the goods from one settlement to other, or just to move between towns and citadels, from land deed to land deed. And if you don't have, for example, let's say an exemplar Rider of the North, you might think to hire one, because it will save you additional time to bring the goods or services, let's say. Or if the Rider of the North will even be as taxi, because we know in this stress test that they put some words like hints, but no one actually knows what are those words even meaning. Let us move now to the Deep Mountain Clan Dwarf. I will use my assistant just to catch some breath and to hydrate.
Deep Mountain Clan Dwarf. Some say the dwarves of the deep mountains are as numerous as the stones within which they dwell. There are dozens, perhaps hundreds, of clans under the mountains and spread throughout the veins of the planet, and many of them have not seen the sky in countless centuries. They sing songs in hypnotic deep voices of the ancient kings of Mirandus past. They work hard in their minds, feast heartily at the slightest occasion, and live fruitful lives of boundless joy. The exemplars known as Deep Mountain Clan have evolved through generations to see without sight in the dark. It is said that a Deep Mountain Clan dwarf can sense their surroundings with great precision, even in the darkest pitch blackness.
So, also, where could we see the dwarves? Dwarves, yeah, just for mining, but for example, if you we don't know how the mines will even work. Will it be also like kinda that you need shop to be a miner? In that case, it would be yeah, for you would have more advantage if you would then employ Deep Mountain Clan Dwarf to do that job, because as it said, they can see better and they can see in the darkness. And this might be interesting, or even if you are an adventurer and you want to have someone who can sense their surroundings with great precision. But we will see in the future how they will be useful. Let us move now to the Beating Heart Clan Orc.
Beaten Heart Clan Orc hunters strike fear into the hearts of those who wander alone in the wilderness, and with good reason. They have a special sense that allows them to perceive the living, to actually see the blood of their prey coursing through its veins. The exemplars who have turned this sense into a masterful art form are the Beaten Heart Clan. Their members can be found anywhere in the world. They are hunters by trade and passion, and they are killers by instinct. These orcs possess the special ability to see the heat signatures of life forms around them when on the hunt.
Okay, so this exemplar gives you just opportunity to hunt better. So if you have tannery or something, you can maybe hire an orc to get you specific animal that you need leather from, or you can buy it from the orcs if you want specific leather or meat.
Long Song Halflings are the merriest people of Mirandus, comprising a majority of its poets, storytellers and musicians. They generally live quiet lives that allow them to create beautiful things without the distractions of a chaotic world. The stories and songs of the halflings can create images, adventures, dreams, even magical spells. The halfling exemplars known as the Long Songs are the most skilled among them, and the friend of a long song is one who keeps good company. They say that the Long Songs disguise powerful magic within their tunes, and that the elders can create spells from sound. Halfling Long Songs receive a bonus in the form of reduced energy cost for spells when playing music.
Okay, nothing special. But this is important. No, for them personally share the benefits. Share benefits of their magic. Given the power bonus to cast. Okay, no, this reduce energy for spells. But does that mean that they just reduce it for themselves, or even for the people around them? That is important.
Everflow elves. Elves are the rarest of the intelligent creatures that populate the world of Mirandus, and even rarer among them are the magnificent Everflow elves. Every elf has a deep and intrinsic understanding of magical energy, but the Everflow elves spend extremely long lifetimes studying and meditating on the conductive flow of magic. They view magic not as a doctrine of spells to be cast, but as the natural flow of energy, which, when harnessed correctly, can overcome any obstacle and perform even the most challenging task with both strength and ease. Everflow elves are exquisitely beautiful to behold, and those who are fortunate enough to know them personally are sometimes able to share in the benefits of their magic. As exemplars, Everflow elves are given a powerful bonus to casting speed.
Yeah, you see, for example, Everflow elf is just a must-have in any guild, just to have as a backup, you know, just to play as a support in your gang. Let us move to the second revealing.
The cartographer. Human, it is a powerful gift to view and understand the world from an accurate perspective. Many of the greatest geniuses throughout the generations of Mirandus have possessed the gift, using it to create legendary maps that recount a lesser-known history of the land. Without the geographical story that maps can tell, explorers never could have conquered the wild regions, passed through the wastelands, or sailed the vast and mighty seas. Today, the legacy of the legendary map makers of old lives on through the human exemplars known as cartographers. They are born with innate senses of direction, navigation, and distances. They are first recognized for their skills when as small children, often toddlers. They are found carefully studying their surroundings and drawing maps in the dirt whose intricacies go beyond their years. Once a cartographer's skills have been fully developed as an adult, they are able to piece the world together into a tapestry of maps with ease. These exemplars receive a powerful bonus to all map creation.
I think this might be useful, very useful, for the people who want to go to adventure. And it's yet to be seen if the maps will be as NFTs, because it's really hard for me to understand how will they implement it inside of the game. And the second thing, if the game it will be streamed, for example, and someone buys map or creates a map, then the whole world is lost, because everyone will have the map, the map, or look at how it looks like. And the only way to protect that is that the map itself is NFT, and that would give it, let's say, more worth, as well as one other thing which we need to take in consideration, and that is, will World of Mirandus change? Will the environment change so that you will need to update that map every once in a while?
The strong hands. Human, no matter where you find yourself in the world of Mirandus, you can always count on the craftsmanship of the human exemplars known as strong hands. Strong hands can be found in nearly every town and village. Explorers have relied on the creations of their hands through the darkest nights, the coldest days, and the most frightening adventures. The legacy of the strong hands has been handed down through countless generations of the hardest working people in the world. These craftsmen despise lethargy and take delight in their most productive days. For the strong hands, ingenuity is more than a job, it is a way of life. If you are fortunate enough to have a strong hand for a friend, your quests and journeys will certainly unfold with greater ease. Through a trait called expediency, these exemplars receive a speed bonus to all crafting.
Yeah, because if you have a shop that uses a lot of energy, or we speculate that it will use a lot of energy to create it, any craftsmanship, strong hands is really good way to go. Or even, as they said, if you go to journey and quests, that they have bonus to all crafting. So what that means is, on your way or on your journey, will you be able to repair your stuff if it breaks? Because if you can do that, strong hands will be surely one part of your army, just for him to be able to repair your stuff or craft some stuff that you need for the journey to come. Create leather, this and that, because we don't know how it will how the game will look at the end, but it's really interesting. Oops, that wasn't my intention. I think I need now to look just back. We have third, second. Can we see the second revealing? Yeah, here we have it. Strong hands. Bone orcs.
Bone orcs. In the bone orcs' native lands, the jagged limestone cliffs stretch for countless miles in every direction. Often razor sharp, these rocks are so prevalent there that bands of orcs have been forced to make their homes within the cracks and crevasses for centuries. Through the strange course of evolution, simply slipping and falling often meant a gashing death, and many orcs died of accidental impalings. Because orcs are not known for their incredible dexterity or balance, only those with the toughest flesh and the greatest ability to heal could survive and thrive through the ages. Over a great passage of time, the healing orcs of this region became known by outsiders as the Bone Orcs. Their instinctive healing powers are so strong that it is said even their broken bones are mended quickly and with ease. They have now adopted the name as their own with pride, and as exemplars they possess a trait called improved mending. Bone orcs are always quick to heal and almost entirely immune to bleeding.
So, in my opinion, or from my understanding, bone orcs would be used as a tanks. Because from all what we heard, it's just, they are perfect for adventures. Perfect one for adventures, to go in these mountains to fight against any animals, monsters that you come along the way, and they have quick heal and are immune to bleeding. So I would see them as tanks for sure in this game. And if you are one who likes to tank things, bone orcs is the way to go. Just to be in the center of all. So let us see the dwarf. I'm just stupid.
The Hollowers. Dwarf life in the mountains and mines has equipped dwarves with many special skills and abilities, most of which the outside world find incredibly valuable. Searching the stones for the greatest treasures is often a needle in a haystack exercise, especially since small jewels are often valued by their scarcity. In these situations, it is always best to call upon the skills of a Hollower. Throughout their ancestry, the Hollowers have made theirs a focus of intuition, developing a sense that allows them to probe stones for weaknesses. Hollowers can perceive unseen cracks within the stones and therefore make the most of every stroke of their hammer or pick. Some even say that the greatest hollowers can sense the exact location of the sought treasure and uncover it with no wasted time at all. Others simply make the case the hollowers are consistently lucky. Whatever the explanation, these exemplars possess a trait called feel for fractures, which allows them to mine with a greatly reduced energy cost.
And to addition of that, energy cost and also probably, I assume, time. It will not be so time consuming like for others. So if you are a jeweler, it would be really in your interesting for you to hire the hollowers, or just to make some friends who are hollowers to be able to buy from them some jewels. We have the last two from
The Proud Hearths. Halflings are well known for not only their seemingly endless capacity for food, but also their great joy and appreciation for eating and drinking. These are peculiar attributes for a people who are so much smaller in stature than humans, but they are nonetheless true. The most skilled halfling cooks are revered as greatly as some cultures treat royalty, and the meals and libations they craft are fit for any Mirandus king. These masters of meals are called the Proud Hearths. A Proud Hearth halfling can cook a massive meal with incredible quickness, no matter the number of guests. It is said that even from a small quantity of ingredients, a Proud Hearth can somehow create a many-course feast that will be remembered fondly for the rest of the diner's lifetimes. As exemplars, Proud Hearths possess a trait called Hearthmaster, which reduces their energy costs when cooking or brewing.
It explains by itself. If you have tavern or brewery, Proud Hearts is the way to go, because it will reduce your energy cost. Or if you have one of those two, maybe you would consider to hire Proud Hearts just to be able to create more meals or more ale. And we have Bright Sun Elves. I'll use my assistant.
Brights and elves. Although they are much rarer than humans, dwarves and orcs, elves are sprinkled throughout the land of Mirandus in precise and balanced variety. Each type of elf has a distinct relationship with magic and a unique origin story for their people. Although the types differ in many ways and attribute different sources to their powers, they still recognize that they all come from the same elven ancestors. The elves of the sun are known as the Brightson elves. They believe that the sun is the source of all power, the provider of everything touched by its rays. They are said to be clothed in radiant light, and as exemplars, they hold a special ability called the satiation of soul. This ability allows the Brightsons to convert energy into health whenever the sun is shining.
Also, one good thing for adventurer, because you want your health probably that you lose in the fights to recuperate. But the thing is also because we don't know what will be easier to get back energy or health, or what proportion will it be, and how much, for example, will you need energy just to recover your health. But probably it will be OP, because elves are just top of the notch, the best exemplars. So This is huge. And let us move now to the third revealing.
The green cloaks. Some humans just seem to have an innate sense of the woods. They can listen to the pulse of the trees and know how to push wood to its utmost when it comes to building. It is theorized that the green cloaks came from a clan deep in the forest, where the noise of the cities and the thrum of civilization could not distract them as they communed with nature. They possess the ability to make wood, do things most other craftspeople could only dream of, both in terms of cutting and crafting. If you need to clear land to plant a farm, having a green cloak at your side will give you a substantial bonus in clearing, but also in turning that wood into something useful. As exemplars, the green cloaks are unparalleled in their connection to the forests and trees.
So, also self-explanatory. If you need to cut some trees, let's put it to the basic, you go for the green cloaks. But also maybe it depends here, they didn't show us or explain to us, will they even have the possibility to plant the trees faster than the other exemplars or avatars? And we have also the opportunity to see here that it turned wood into something. So it might be for the wood shop owner or woodworker, it would be interesting to have this avatar, or hire some, if it's possible, to hire a green cloak, because they are the best for it.
The weavers. The children of the weavers often are given a shuttle and thread to play with when they are very young. And the first piece of woven material produced by their hands is always a treasured family heirloom. It is said that the weavers have the ability to produce some of the finest garments in the time it takes for an average loom operator to create some simple rough spun. Whether it is in the creation of fine woven cloth as a crafting supply, or the manufacture of certain types of armor, the weavers possess the ability to create something almost before anyone else has even began. As an exemplar, they will be unparalleled in their cloth production ability, making them very rare indeed.
Yeah, simple. If you have tannery or you want to work with that leather clothing industry, weavers are the way to go. Or even, as they said, armor, because leather armor probably, and I think that would be the cheapest. This is just speculation, but probably would be the cheapest one.
The Glimmering Clan, Dwarf. It has been theorized that some of the greatest treasures unearthed in dwarven mining operations have gone unnoticed and been carelessly discarded. Evidence of this lies in the special skills of members of the Glimmering Clan, who are consistently able to prove that there is treasure in the trash and there are riches in the rubble. As if minerals of value call to them through the rocks, these mining experts search through piles of mining debris. No matter the size of the waste pile, they can usually find something of value. When they appear on a busy mining site, the Glimmering Clan is often a source of frustration for the leaders of the operation because they find the ore that was overlooked. The cleverest mining managers like to hire a member of the Glimmering Clan to sift through the discards of their crew. As exemplars, these dwarves possess an ability called ascertain ore, which offers an exclusive bonus to mining output.
Also, self-explanatory, just to you just want if you have a mine, because as I said, they didn't introduce it yet, the mines. And how will they even work? Will they be inside of the land deed, or will you have the ability to put the mine somewhere inside of the mountain and to work? And if you want to do that, dwarves are the best one to have. And as they said, it's to hire them as a manager. Ability a certain one, which offers them exclusive bonus to mining output. Yeah.
Clear Bloods, orc of all tribes of Mirandus orcs, the Clear Bloods are perhaps the most unusual. They are regarded even by their fellow orcs from other tribes with curiosity. And any outsider who observes their rituals tends to find them disturbing, to say the least. Unlike the majority of orcs, who are uninterested in the inner workings of their bodies, the Clear Bloods have a strong focus on medicines. But to outsiders, most of their dozens of medicines are considered deadly poisons. Through ritual administration of these medicines constantly throughout the life of a Clear Blood, some Clear Bloods are able to develop immunities not only to the effects of those poisons, but all other poisons in the world. Others die in agony during the various ritual processes, but this is all part of the risk an orc must accept to be initiated into the Clear Blood. As exemplars, Clear Bloods possess a trait called toxin release, which makes them immune to almost any poison.
Also one exemplar for adventuring, because probably in your adventure you will come across deadly poisonous animals as well as monsters, so something like Clear Blood's orc can be really useful.
The even strides, halfling running is not always about height or speed, a fact which is excellently exemplified by the halfling clan known as the even strides. Even though halflings are shorter than most humans, these movement specialists are able to perfectly organize the forces involved to create the most efficient method of running, no matter the terrain. They can almost always outrun humans and orcs both in terms of sprint speed and endurance. Through careful control of their weight distribution, even strides also have incredible balance, which allows them to use running as a reliable mode of transportation. If you see a halfling running swiftly across the countryside between villages, chances are it's an even stride. As exemplars, even strides possess the swiftness trait, which allows them to run with reduced energy cost.
Okay. I don't know where to put even strides to run. Probably also in adventure. Probably also in the adventure mode, because as adventurer, just to loop the monsters and
Earthlight Elves' elf magic is typically focused strongly around the sun, but not all elven disciplines rely upon its power for their magical energy. The Earthlight Elves are one such discipline. They enjoy the sun as many of their brethren, but they are equally at one with their magic no matter their surroundings. For these accomplished magic users, spells are still powered by light. But the light upon which they rely is an imperceptible force provided not by the sun, but by the planet itself. As long as they have the earth underfoot, Earthlight Elves are much more comfortable using magic than even the most experienced human mages. As exemplars, Earthlight elves come with a trait called Serenity, which reduces the casting cost of all spells.
Yeah, just self-explanatory again, more for adventure, because I don't know for what else could you use spells instead of just fighting the monsters. And this is our last revealing, or almost last. We have one more special revealing exemplar. So
The alchemists. Human. The art of potion making is never an instinctive skill, but one that must be learned through years of education and experimentation. Mastery of it requires nearly limitless patience and a pure understanding of all elements that make up the world around us. Many agree that the greatest creators of potions are members of the elite human guild known as the alchemists. Their knowledge is so vast that they can craft the most valued potions and most delicate elixirs from local ingredients no matter their location in the world. Alchemists are good to know, for through their potions they can sometimes help you with impossible tasks. But be warned, they are strikingly aware of their skills and usually carry heavy egos. As exemplars, alchemists receive a bonus to potion making and are the type of person you want in your group if you plan on exploring some of the more dangerous reaches of Mirandus.
okay, yeah, so also self-explanatory. If you have a potion stand or something, it's always easier to have an alchemist just producing it. Goldsmiths.
The goldsmiths. Human. The world of Mirandus is an incredibly abundant place, full of precious metals, valuable resources and priceless jewels and gems. An exemplar guild of humans called goldsmiths has spent many generations perfecting the crafts of working with precious metals, particularly gold. These metals seem to come to life under the agile fingertips and quality tools of the goldsmiths. No matter where they roam in the world, a goldsmith is always able to find work, crafting gold and silver into exquisitely beautiful jewelry. As exemplars, goldsmiths receive a bonus to jewelry production, which makes them some of the most prized artisans throughout the land.
So if you have jewelry shop, it is for you logical that you have goldsmith exemplar, or if you are not willing to spend that money, maybe you can hire a goldsmith to make some jewels for you and pay them, because this also gives you an opportunity. If you have a goldsmith exemplar, for example, you don't need to have your own jewelry shop. Maybe you can find a job by from someone who have the jewelry shop, but he doesn't have the goldsmith, or he is not willing to do that job. So I think the exemplars gives you more options, not only that you utilize that in your shops, but also to offer your services to others.
The Iron Shapers, dwarf. Although their population is heavily concentrated in caves, not all dwarves live in the depths of the planet. Some have mingled with the many societies of the world for generations, keeping shops, working trades and providing various services to the people of Mirandus. One such dwarven clan is known as the Iron Shapers. Members of this elite clan possess some of the greatest blacksmithing skills in the land. and they dedicate their entire lives to maintaining that superiority. The unconventional method by which they raise their children is called the way of the hammer. It crafts the ways in which young iron shapers see the world, ever focusing on the tools of their trade. The greatest celebration in an iron shaper's life comes suddenly when their first successful hammer strike is made. From all over, iron shapers bring gifts to their newest brother or sister. And that day becomes known as their hammer day. Unfortunately, many of iron shapers were too young to fully remember or understand the significance of their hammer day. As exemplars, iron shapers possess a trait called Way of the Anvil, which grants them a bonus of reduced energy costs when blacksmithing and allows them to produce high-quality weapons and iron implements.
Also, for all the weapon shops, and I would say also forge, armor shop, just way to go.
Orcs of certainty. Orcs are creatures of instinct. They are highly intelligent, strong and dangerous in the wild. Because they are able to reason and make difficult choices in the same way as humans, some say that their natural traits give them a distinct advantage. Some tribes of orcs have even learned to amplify their strongest instincts, giving them a definite edge in hunting, survival and combat. The Orcs of Certainty are one such tribe. They have embraced a sense that is entirely beyond the comprehension of humans that allows them to perceive aggression and fear in those around them. These orcs are nearly impossible to double-cross, for they almost always see it coming. As exemplars, Orcs of Certainty have a trait called Trace of Danger. That grants them the ability to sense aggressive creatures and the malice and avarice of those guarding treasure troves.
So Orcs of Certainty were in the shop for a long time, and no one wanted to buy them because the people just, and I also can't comprehend the aggressive creature, what that even means, because mostly if you see some creatures, they will behave more or less. I take that as that's my opinion, that they will always behave more or less the same. A wolf will be wolf. It will be aggressive, but what does this mean? Even just ability to sense aggressive creatures, We didn't have that explanation, and probably because people were uncertain what benefits you get, that's why they didn't bought them, but eventually they bought it.
The Mum's End. Halfling deep in the hills of Halfling country there is a small village called Mum's End, sometimes referred to as the Quiet Village. It is a close-knit community whose residents are made up primarily of the clan known as the Mumsends. These halflings are generally wise observers of their surroundings who speak only rarely. One peculiar result of this strongly held silence through the generations has been the special skill to move silently. In other words, the Mumsends are experts in the art of sneaking up. In fact, within their village, society is built around those who are the most skilled not only at sneaking up on others, but resisting being sneaked upon themselves. The game that determines public rank among Mumsend is called Whisper, and as silly as it may seem, the game's results are binding throughout the town. Whisper has a complex set of rules. But in summary, it is a sneak assassin game in which Mumsends attempt to sneak up on their friends and neighbors and scare them out of their minds with a whispered greeting. Those who elicit the most startles earn the greatest measures of respect from the community. For many Mumsends, the game has proven life-changing, for better or worse. As exemplars, Mumsends possess a trait called Stilled Passage, which allows them to move in almost complete silence. This can allow them to sneak into areas filled with dangerous creatures or to pick pockets, making it just a bit easier for them to line their purses.
Also, where I can see it really interesting might be in the hunt, because if you can sneak up to the animals, you can kill them also easier, but that is just my assumption. Or even, in adventure you can they can sneak easier into caves and such things to pickpockets. I don't know if that will be even a possibility in the world of Mirandus to pickpocket someone, but okay, let's see.
All Sight Elves. Very little is known about the most mysterious and oldest of the elven ancestries, the All Sight Elves. Their relationship with magic cannot easily be explained to other elves, let alone to humans, orcs, halflings or dwarves. Some of the oldest stories in the land hail these elves as the stewards of time, without whom the people of the world would have perished on many occasions throughout history. It is believed that they exist across all time. If this is true, it has given him a unique and advantageous understanding of not only the past, but the future as well. Greatly enhanced sight allows the All-Sight's special mastery over projectile weaponry. As exemplars, All-Sight Elves receive a bonus to all ranged weapons. However, possibly more importantly, All-Sight Elves also have a bonus towards chance encounters that range from opportunities for great fortune to those which grant them the best advantage in combat.
Yeah, also for adventure you can see from all that's been read. And archer, they will be used as archers and really strong. Elves are really strong. And now we are at the latest one that came out, and that is Seafarer. I made also one video about it, but I will do the recap here also. Mirandus Monday set sail in the Mirandus with Seafarer's song. Carry me home to a ship on the sea, where wind, wave and foam my spirit will free. And if I return to this dull and dry land, I will be in an urn filled with ashes and sand. The Seafarer's song. But what do we really know about sea? You are an explorer of the sea, a seafarer. You are envied by those who are tied to their landlocked responsibilities, and you are marveled at by the most civilized people of the towns and cities. You don't understand, they don't understand your life. They do not feel the unbridled joy that you do when you are gently rocked by the waves. They do not know the exhilarating rush of adrenaline that accompanies the squall as it threatens to consume your crew and swallow your ship into its hungry chaos. As you know in your heart, they don't truly live. Seafaring in Mirandus. For some, the Sea of Mirandus will be merciless enemy and deadly wasteland, from whence there is no return. For those with their sea legs, the water may bring untold opportunities, adventures and treasuries. The greatest of those who ride the waves and adventure beyond the horizon are human seafarers. In addition to the great blue yonder, Mirandus will contain local bodies of water such as lakes, rivers and ponds. Many of those local bodies will have their own secrets, and seafarers will be adept at navigating them all. There will be intricate and treacherous coastlines to explore, but the seafarers will be able to explore them with greatest of ease. Seafarers receive a bonus at maneuvering in a small watercraft as well as large ships. The world of Mirandus is essentially a huge island, like any continent of the world. If a seafarer knows its way, If a seafarer knows the way to unexplored island, far from home, they can sail there with little to no danger on their voyage. Seafarers can sail further and faster than an average player. In effect, if a non-seafaring adventurer of Mirandus has coordinates to the great treasure trove miles from ashore, they would be wise to connect with seafarer to deliver them safely for a price. Just like in real life, there will be places outside of the coast that cannot be visited by a mere canoe. Allowing avatars to simply canoe paddle to the distant desert isle is rather lame attempt to authenticity and juggling poor player experience. Seafarers are at home on the tossed ship, and they find their ways by the stars. They are able to row more efficiently, spending less energy than others. They can travel faster and more safely. They can avoid ransom encounters, and they can seek out hidden wonders using tips and maps. As long as seafarers knows the location of something, they can find it in the vast open sea. The seafarer's boat. Just to come back to this previous what I said, I played that stress test and I saw the stars clearly visible in the sky. So it would be really interesting if Gala Games decide that seafarers can use the stars to navigate, or at least just to give it the opportunity to learn in game, like how to maneuver and how to navigate using stars. I think that would be really awesome. The seafarer's boat. The boat of seafarer is their closest companion, their protector and their home. Ships can hold great amounts of treasure and supplies, so in Mirandus a seafarer's ship is the most secure place to stow their goods. Boats, which can be upgraded, enhanced and built upon the vessels into the least known areas of Mirandus for those who dare to explore them. A seafarer's boat is the most important thing in their life. While they may not tie themselves down to the towns, jobs or mates, every seafarer has a sturdy rope leashed from the boat to the heart. With a good boat underfoot, a Mirandus seafarer is never far away from adventure and fortune. So that would be it for the articles that Gala Game posted. I would like also to put your attention to one website, citadelofwind.com, where you can find all the information also about Mirandus, Townstar, and really valuable information regarding all the deeds. And that being said, is now I want to share my strategy, what I think first of Gala Games and what they are doing, and then to reveal my strat to you. So what I think about Gala Games, I think that what they do here, not only with Mirandus but the whole ecosystem, it's gaming revolution. They're revolutionizing the gaming. Axie Infinity does it too, by play to earn model. They have also, and one thing that I like about Gala Games, they are building this strong ecosystem or one platform where you can find all the games that you like, for example, and that you will be able in the future to interact with all of those. They have also a good team, really good team, with a lot of experience, and they're really good at doing stuff. I wish that they were a little bit faster, but if I need to choose between good finished game and that will be maybe created in years, I would rather do that than just go for a quick solution like they did for example for DayZ. What they did to that game is just disastrous, and I wouldn't like to see Mirandus in that way, because it's easier for something to build it up from the front than to patch it in the small parts. Also, what they do to Ethereum, the cryptocurrencies that come now with this with smart contracts and etc., they have advantage because they build it right up from the front, where Ethereum need to patch all the stuff, and it's harder to change it like that than to create it from bottom. And also what I really like about Gala Games is the community that they have. If you go to Discord channel or any other social media, you will be amazed. You will be amazed. Things I don't like about Gala Games. And number one is they didn't cap NFTs per account. And they let people have thousands, hundreds or thousands for NFTs. And it's simple that if you have money, you can buy it. And they don't realize that $100, for example, is not same in every country. Someone can buy easily something for $100 and don't even feel it, where if you live in some poorer countries, you need months, even years, to save that $100 just to be able to buy some NFTs. And that is what I don't like. They don't give the opportunity to all the players to buy an NFT. So I would suggest there to do the KYC, even though I hate KYC, just to do KYC and cap the NFTs per account. Simple as that. Second thing that I don't like, it's Ethereum network. I know that Gala Games is working on it to move away from Ethereum network as far as possible, or looking for a solution. They partnered now even with Binance Smart Chain just to reduce the costs. And the latest one, Voxdrop, that was made was disastrous. People lost thousands of dollars just on fees. But Gala Games learned their lesson, and I think something like that will never ever happen again in the future. Also, one thing that I don't like is lack of information about games. You saw that those old articles that I posted to you, those are just small part of information. I know that the game is still in development and that we need time and everything, and okay, and they don't want to backpedal. I can understand it for sure. But if you expect someone to drop thousands of hundreds of dollars and not even knowing what they are spending their money for, it's really hard. I mean, it showed that it's not hard because people that jumped early into the nodes were able to buy a lot of stuff just from the nodes rewards from the Gala that they earned. So that moves us to the next point, and that is overpriced NFTs. If you look the NFTs, this is not just Mirandus, this is every single game on their webpage, except maybe Town Star, but even that is. But if you look, I don't know, let us move just, I will not look the exemplars. Okay, let's see Alchemist. So 300 USD just for one exemplar. In my opinion, it's a lot. In my opinion, that's, or if we look up the buildings, and then we can see the most cheapest one is tent, and let us see just how much the tent is. One tent costs 125 USD, and let's compare that to the land deeds, where, for example, Homestead, you could buy Homestead for that price, 100 USD. And that is just, yeah, insane. And I know that Gala Games didn't expect such a huge growth and so much attention from the community, and that it will be so well adopted, but hell no, it's just overpriced. They have just one game that function, and that is Townstar, and that is not out fully completed, I think, but let's say it's completed game. So you have one game, and yet you sell NFTs for such a huge prices. I mean, in my book, it's we could discuss. I mean, about it, because they learned the lesson. They set, let's say, normal prices. I would say back then it was normal prices. But when they saw that people were just buying it and reselling it on OpenSea, and the people were buying on OpenSea, they said like, oh, wait. Let us do that. Instead of, for example, if the mass adoption is the key here, you can cap it per account, do KYC, or you could make it just infinite amount, just put a lot of shops, not to cap it to, I don't know, 1,000, 50,000, and set it to $2 or $5 each. Just that it's not so rare. Just that people don't I will not use the term invest. That they don't jump in because of the money. So another thing that I don't like is the coin payment, what they did. I like it from one side, that it allows you to cut those stupid Ethereum fees if you choose to pay with other cryptocurrencies, such as, for example, XRP or BUSD. It will allow you to save, even Doge, it will allow you to save those fees. But mostly I used BUSD for it because of the low fees and fast transaction. But even there, I had a problem, and I needed like 10 days to get that straight. And then I needed to send some BNB just to get my BUSD. It was just complicated. And what I wish that they would introduce was also fiat currencies, or at least to have some peg related euro, status euro or something like that. Because for me it's also dumb, because Germany has a lot of stupid rules regarding also taxation. So when I buy something using the USDT, I make taxable events like 3 or 4 times. But if I would have it in euro, it would be just easy. So the things I like also, as I said, are community, Gala Games team, even in Discord, just the fact that someone like Benefactor or Bitbender is reading your comments or just discussing, or just it's just insane. Where else do you see people like CEOs reading stuff from common people? It's so unusual. And even discussing, they get also the criticism and they take it well. And I think we also as a community help them shape the Gala Games ecosystem. Also, Gala Games support is neutral. I will say that it's neutral. I had a couple of problems, and it was not so well handled in my opinion. I waited a long time to respond, and even now I have some tickets that are opened that were maybe 20 days or 20-30 days open. So it's kind of, I don't know. I think they can step their game up in that section. And for the last part of this live stream, I would like to reveal my strat to you. So for exemplars, I went with True Provider and the Pirate, because I think the True Provider can give you opportunity to work for someone in farming hamlet or ranching hamlet, or if I get what I want, and that is farming hamlet, I can use my true provider together with farming hamlet. And the pirate, I use pirate because as a pirate you can offer your services to people who needs someone for the transportation, for example. And the second one is I want to get the ship, because in my book ship is more or less similar to land deed, or it has land deeds characteristics. You can store your goods at the ship, you can sleep, you can eat, you can get your energy back. All of the stuff that you have in the land deed, you have it at the ship. So in my book, ship is really, really, really worth. I don't know if they will make it as an NFT. Probably they will. Ship, or if you will need to make it inside of the game. So they didn't discuss that yet, but I'm really curious how will they choose to make it. So from the land deeds, as I said, farming hamlet and ship as a land deed. Outpost is also one that I'm really interested in, because it gives you the possibility to place your deed somewhere in dangerous area. Because if you like, as I do, more action in the game, I think it's really interesting to put it somewhere in dangerous area, just to get all kinds of monsters coming to attack you, and you need to defend it, like strategic. That's like kind of strategy, a strategic point. And then also the kings from the citadels can give you also, I think, some special powers to defend or to reward you for holding that post. So I think that would be really interesting to have. And the last one is homestead. Homestead is just too expensive for me. It's over 2K, and everything that it does to you is you are a little bit, let's say you are self-sustainable, you have self-sustainable system, and you can play the game, but you will not achieve anything big, in my opinion, or only if you go for example in adventure, or you get good guild, or you get together around with some like-minded people and you build some kind of settlement. And the things that you can put maybe in homestead would be, or that I would put, would be tent, for example, and I would look the place between two villages, because if you remember from the articles that I read, first one to place their deed will be citadel owners, after that the town folks, then villagers, then hamlets and outposts, and after that the people with homestead will be able to put their deed. So I imagine it like this. This is just speculation. This is not confirmed. When you see the map with all the different deeds on it, you can see where is the middle part, for example, between two of deeds, and then you can put strategically your homestead somewhere there, just to give the adventurers the opportunity to rest between the trip, and maybe grain stand for the wheat that you will have. For outpost I would have tavern or a camp at 10x10 plot. Tavern is great, especially if you have warriors, and if you have a strong battle, or you came out victorious after some battle and repel some monsters. I think the really good stories would be told there. Camp is also interesting. Camp is maybe I mean, you could also gather around the camp and chill out, or even to give the opportunity for the adventurer to come and sit and tell them stories and to speak with each other. Hitching post, simple storehouse, meat stand would be at the 5x5 plots. And if you watch the stress test, that was the layout from the outpost. So you could see how big the outpost is. And I don't know, for example, how many people could you have at the outpost. And for the last, I took the farming hamlet. Outpost is also expensive. It's around 8,000 USD. And farming hamlet is already at 12, I think. 12 or 13,000 USD. So it's really expensive. Really expensive. But if it gets to the price that I like, maybe I will jump in and buy it. So granary, mill, barn or bakery, those would be the objects or the shops that I would put there. Simple tannery, milking stand, bread stand, hitching post. Especially if you have mill, bakery, bread stand, then you have one complete cycle of production. So you could produce, in that case I can produce bread and sell it, or to go like with the barn, milking stand, and then you can also sell the milk. So that is kind of what I'm aiming for. I don't know if I will be able to achieve it. It all depends on the prices on OpenSea, because every land deed that I wanted is already sold, and the cheapest one in Gala Games store is I think 60k or something like that. We will look it up now. Land deed available. So we have, yeah, Village of Earl, and the Village of Earl is 60k USD. So that is kind of out of range budget, and for that price you can buy stuff in real life. So that is kind of too much for me, and I will probably go with farming hamlet if it goes to the price that I want, or farming hamlet, outpost, or the homestead. One of those three are in my sight, so I hope that I gather at least one. I appreciate every single one of you who came by, stopped by, everyone who's watching this video. Share with me your ideas or your strat if you want, and thank you for your attention. See you in the future.